G'day, my name's Achilles, and today we're going to be taking a look at Ranch Roleplay. For this video, we will assume that you've already gone ahead and completed the whitelist application. If you liked the video or find it informative, then go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, as well as leave a comment below on what else you'd like to see next. To kick things off, we will start with the character creation screen. Here you will adjust your character's features and choose your starting outfit. There are a few controls shown for you to navigate this process down on the bottom right, as well as a few other small icons in the center of your screen to manipulate your character's clothes and dress states. Once you have completed your outfit, it's time for you to hit confirm and choose your starting town. This is where your story begins. As with all things roleplay, you need to have some basic idea of what kind of character you want to play as. For this example, I will go ahead and choose Saint Denis. Now that we've spawned at Saint Denis train station, let's go ahead and take a look at the inventory and what we're going to be starting with. To open your inventory, press B on your keyboard. When it opens, you'll notice you have a book, a flask, and $50. If you right click on your book and click open, this displays your notebook. This is where you can store people's telegrams, as well as any other important information that you find out in game. You can lock the title by writing something in it and pressing the lock title button, as shown here. You can turn the pages of the book by clicking the top corners. You can also manipulate the writing by using the panel on the left to change a variety of options. Every item in the game can be dropped, and you can do this by right-clicking the item. From here you'll be given a variety of different ways to turn and rotate the item, as well as setting it down by pressing spacebar. You can then pick these items up by holding tab. Now that we have the basics, let's go over and take a look at our telegrams. Now we're at the telegram station, let's go ahead and open up the telegram system. Once opened, you'll see that you have your telegram number up at the top right. For me it's WS5654. You'll have inbox, groups, advertise, and extras. In the extras tab, if you've donated or supported the server, you'll notice that you have a telegram change. Over here on the left, you'll see that there is a bunch of advertisements. You can find all sorts of different things here. As we leave the telegram station, we run into a poster. Posters can be made at printing presses. You can place them down with the drop function, where you can then read or take the posters. As we saw on the poster, there's multiple ways to get a horse. Today we'll be looking at the stable. However, it should be noted that when you're around in-game, you might be able to find a cheaper horse if you visit a ranch. Ranches offer exclusive breeds to the ranch, so you might have to hunt around to find the right breed. As we open the stable, we can purchase a horse. In here we have many starter horses. These are some things that you can find out in the wild, which is why you can buy them cheaper at ranches. I've gone ahead and purchased a Kentucky saddler, and I've named him George. If I open back up the menu, you can see there's a multitude of different options down the bottom. For example, there's favorite. Let's go ahead and click favorite and see what it does. Now when I open the stable back up, you'll see that there's a star next to George. You have a few different options. You've got customize, tack, remove, transfer, and release, as well as retrieve. So let's go ahead and retrieve George. George isn't going to appear to our right inside this stable. He's going to appear out the front of this stable, near the train tracks. Let's go ahead and jump on George here and head to the bank. As we approach the bank, there'll be a trash can here to our right. You'll notice that when the prompt in the right hand corner shows up. These trash cans are scattered all around the map, and when you place items in it, the item will disappear upon restart. Now that we're at the bank, let's go ahead and open the bank. You can see that you also start with an extra $100. Let's go ahead and withdraw that. It's always important to remember that the money you withdraw, people can take from you. So be careful about that. I'm going to go ahead and place my book in the bank as well, because I'm playing in 1899, and William here, well, he can't read anyway, so there's no point in having it. As we adventure further, we're going to try and find a gunsmith. Let's go to the St. Denis gunsmith and see what happens. Every store on Ranch, for the most part, is player owned. That means that, well, I can't get in, so another player owns it and has locked it. This could be for a variety of reasons. They might not be online, they might be on the run, or it might be seized. Seeing as we can't buy a gun from this gun store, let's head on over to the general store. Now we're at the general store, let's head inside and pick up a few supplies for later on. Once we're inside, we're going to look for the owner. If we find the owner or an employee, we'll be able to purchase things for cheap. However, if they're not there, we can always still use the catalog. It looks like the store's empty, so let's go ahead and open the catalog. We're going to try and find a few things to take camping later. This is so that we can live off the land. Let's grab a campfire, as well as maybe a hunting knife and a lasso. Let's see, what else could we potentially use? How about a tag? I may as well show you how that works as well. Now we just need to find something to cook with. There it is. Let's grab a cooking pot as well. I almost forgot. We also need some bowls. We're going to pick up 4 of those. Sweet. I think that's everything we need. To use a tag, you want to left click and drag the tag over the item you want to use it on. Let's call this William's Flask. Some things won't be able to have names added to them until you've done something else to them. For example, if we make a tonic with this flask. I'm going to go ahead and drag my hunting knife to my hotbar, as well as my lasso. While we're here, we might as well organize our inventory a little bit. As you can see, if I put something in the bottom right hand corner, it expands my inventory. You should bear in mind the weight limit though, as you can only have 16 kilos on you. Up the top right, you'll also find a crafting menu. Seeing as we don't need these extra slots, let's go ahead and tidy up our inventory. From here, let's jump on George and find our way out of town. We'll probably head towards Rhodes, so we can open up our map and see where that is. You can do that by pressing M. If I go to the left here, you'll notice there's Rhodes, and then if you look further up, there's Valentine. Let's zoom in on Rhodes and double left click to set a waypoint. You might have noticed there's no minimap. Ranch doesn't have a minimap or a crosshair. Now let's explore the settings a little bit. We'll pull off to the left here so that we can do that. If you press T, it'll open up the chat window. You can then do /settings and press enter, and it'll show the settings for the HUD and a few other things in game. As I scroll down here, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of icons and their show or hidden status. Let's go ahead and disable a few of these and change them to hidden. You'll also see a wagon behavior, as well as a side saddle and a long arm style. Wagon behavior is in reference to if you crash or disconnect, whether or not your wagon will stay or disappear. The long arm style will show your long arm either on your shoulder or across your back, and side saddle is used for if you're the second person on a horse. Let's go ahead and hide a few more options. Let's hide everything except for the horse stamina. Down the bottom left, you'll notice that only the stamina is showing. That's quite a drastic change compared to before, so let's add a few more things back. Now down the bottom left, you'll see that the icons have updated. Another useful command is /HUD. This is going to remove all the icons from your screen to make things more immersive. If I put HUD back on and I press the J button, that'll change my radius at which I speak. The red is the loudest you can go, and the 1 bar is the quietest. If I put HUD back on and I change my volume, you'll see on the right hand side of the screen that there's a percentage indicator, so that even when you've got your HUD on or off, you can see how loud you're speaking. Now that we've set our HUD how we want it, let's head into roads. As we put up to roads, I noticed that there was a pair of horseshoes nearby. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those because free's free, right? Horseshoes start at 100% and work themselves down to 0 when on your horse. These are at 46%, which is great news for us because it means we can get at least half of the use out of them. As we enter the gunsmith, I'm looking around for a gunsmith. Doesn't seem like there is any. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the catalog and I'm going to go and purchase a bow. This is perfect for hunting to get started with. I'm also going to purchase 50 arrows because, truth be told, I'm a horrible shot. I'm also going to pick up a cattleman revolver. It's important to remember that pistol ammo doesn't go in revolvers, it goes in pistols. It's a common mistake, and I've fallen for it many times. Let's purchase 30 revolver rounds. Once we have our 30 revolver rounds, let's go ahead and pick up some gun oil. This is used to clean your weapon. Now that I've got everything I need, I'm going to start organizing my inventory. So let's drag the cattleman onto our hotbar as well as the bow. And then I'm going to move everything else down to the bottom of my inventory. Now I'm going to pull out my revolver and try and reload. Here on Ranch, you'll see that we have a minigame. If it highlights red, you missed. You'll only reload a portion of your rounds. If it highlights white, it means it's success. You'll reload all of your rounds. If you right-click your weapons and click Inspect, you'll notice you'll be able to see the condition your weapon's in, as well as if the weapon is hot or cold. Heading on to the road stable, I'm going to show you how you can flea your horse. This is important to reduce culling on the server. If I get off and right-click focus on my horse, you'll notice that there are a few options. One of which is the F key. This will help you flea your horse. If this doesn't work, you can simply press H to whistle your horse back and try one of the other methods. Another method is to lasso your horse. You lasso it and hold it there for a few seconds and then let it go. If that still doesn't work, you can hop back on the horse and then hop off the horse and do /flee. Opening back up the stable menu, let's get some tack for our horse. We'll start by adding a saddle blanket. Once we've decided on our saddle blanket, we can move on to our saddle. Seeing as we only have a limited budget, I'm going to get a saddle blanket, a saddle, and maybe a few other small things, like a bedroll. As you can see down the bottom, every time I add something to the list, the price increases, or decreases depending on the item. Let's go ahead and add some saddlebags. You can also customize your horse's mane and tail. However, I've not got enough money to do that. Let's go ahead and retrieve George, and go try and find some food. So I've headed to a nearby forest, and I've found a herb. Let's go and hold G to pick it up. You can find herbs all over Monroe. Each herb has a different side effect. You can add them to your flask or your stew. You can also find mushrooms which can be added to flasks or your stews as well. I'm going to go ahead and add this to my flask. This should create a misty tonic. Let's go ahead and fill up our cooking pot. We're going to need to do this so we can make some stews. To fill up your cooking pot, you take it to the water, open your inventory, right click on the pot and add water. Now you can see that we have 1 liter of water in the cooking pot. Let's go and store that back on the horse, as well as the other herb and mushroom. We're gonna need some meat, so let's do some hunting. I've been lucky enough to find a deer. Now that it looks like the deer's gone down, let's go ahead and approach it. Okay, doesn't look like the deer's gonna get away from us now. Let's hop off the horse, pull out a knife, and then go over to it. This is a good opportunity to talk about /do and /me. These are actions and things about your character, and they're used to enhance roleplay. So as you can see here, I've used it to describe what I'm doing to the deer before I skin it. Now that we've got some meat, let's go ahead and try and find a camp. As we're approaching a camp, it's good to take note of whether or not someone else is using it. That's just good role-playing etiquette. It doesn't look like anyone's using this camp, so let's go ahead and hitch our horse. Then we can take a moment to look around the camp and make sure no one is using it. We're going to try and elevate our roleplay a little bit here, so let's go ahead and take the saddle off, as well as the rest of our camping gear. We're going to then use another /do in order to describe what we're doing. We're going to right click and drop our saddle, and then we're going to find somewhere to put it. We're going to make sure that it doesn't look unrealistic or break immersion. So let's try the back of the wagon. That doesn't look quite right. Let's try the barrel. The barrel's still not that good. Let's try that. Perfect, that'll have to do. We're going to go ahead and set up the campfire. We're going to do the same thing we did for the saddle. Open the inventory and right click and drop. This is again going to be an item. However, with the campfire, you have to be careful where to put it. As with everything else, you need to make sure it looks realistic. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now that we have the campfire set up, let's open the cook menu. As you can see, dragging the cook pot without anything but water in it doesn't allow you to cook it. Let's go ahead and open up the crafting menu. In the crafting menu, you'll find a bunch of public recipes. You can do a whole bunch with these things to make yourself survive off the land. Let's go ahead and have a look at coffee. As you can see, it takes 200 ml of water and 2 coffee beans. We don't have any coffee beans, so we're not going to worry about that, or any of these for that matter. Let's go ahead and add some venison by right-clicking the pot and add venison. We're going to make a very simple dish. Simply venison and water. I know, it sounds bloody horrible, but you have to do what you have to do. Let's go ahead and open up the cook menu again. You can go ahead and place the cooking pot in there and press cook. As you can see, there's a bar that fills up, and when it's done, you'll hear a sound and it'll go back to your inventory. Now, early on when we were at the general store, we bought 4 bowls. If we right-click the cooking pot, we can make bowls of stew. Doing so will fill all 4 of the bowls. It should be noted as well that you can just add meat to the cooking area and it'll cook the meat and you can eat cooked meat. Let's go ahead and have a stew. You can see down the bottom left that it hydrated us and gave us a bit of food. Now, although you can live off the land, it's always better to go to a saloon or a general store or any other business that sells food and water or some type of drink. They hydrate you and fill you a lot better than this. Let's talk about the Z-Wheel. The Z-Wheel has a whole bunch of stances, emotes, walking styles, facial animations, and clothing. You can also stop any animation or emote via the stop animation at the bottom in the Z-Wheel. Let's go through some facial animations just to see what I'm talking about. Now, because he's got a full belly, let's make him happy. Let's talk a little bit about the slash command versus the Z-Wheel. If I want to take off my coat and my hat, firstly what I would do is do a slash do. Now that I've done a slash do, I'm going to take off my coat and my jacket. As you can see, I've decided to do slash coat to take off my coat, and I've used the Z-Wheel to take off my hat. This choice is really up to you. Now, because of my slash do, I decided to say that I've put my coat and my hat down by the fire. We can use slash detail to place a detail down for other players. You can scroll wheel to increase the time, and scroll wheel the other way to decrease the time. Because we're not going to be here for long, we're just going to do it for 2 hours. You can press spacebar to place the detail, and hold G to see the detail. This is how you can see other people's details. You can also delete them holding escape. If you would like to see more roleplay content as well as any other game that I may play, my Twitch will be linked in the description if you'd like to follow along. I currently don't stream often, but when I do, it'd be great to have you around. Thank you for tuning in. There'll be a link to the Ranch Roleplay website as well as their Discord down below.